I just finished part 2 of my autism assessment 2 days ago, and I'm terrified. I'm 31 years old, and motherhood surprisingly taught me that my quirks, my weird things, I can't ignore them anymore. Here is the process that I've gone through and why I'm afraid of being dismissed. Hi, I'm Shay, and welcome to my channel where we talk about neurodivergent motherhood, unmasking, and building a life that actually fits your brain. Welcome. Alright, so the assessment that I'm taking is through Prosper Health, which means it is online, all virtual. It will consist of 3 sessions. The first 2 are going to be 90-minute calls with a clinician, where it's really just like a long, detailed conversation between you two. And then the third call is kind of just like the final boss. Just kidding. It's like the results call where the clinician will just go over their findings and just like let you know whether you meet the criteria for the autism diagnosis or just like a detailed explanation of how you experience life. So before I became a mom last year, I thought I was the most detailed, perfectionist, type A, structured, organized, just like very rigid of a person. And you know, I thrived like that. Like, yeah, sure, it was a little high strung, but things got done. After I had my son, just like the routines that I had in place, they didn't exist anymore. There's just so much more like unpredictability. You're running on, not much sleep, you have less recovery time. And then for me, I really thrive on just like alone time. That doesn't exist anymore. And so it's just really hard to continue existing in like the systems that I had in place before I had my son, like, because they didn't exist anymore. Specifically, like my big, I call it like my motherhood unveiled moment, was definitely stemmed from overstimulation. I completely shut down. There's just like so much happening, complete sensory overload. So like the baby was crying, the cat's meowing, you have toys going off, you have the TV going off, you have like in the midst of all these things, like you still have to make decisions for yourself, for your family, you're still working. There's too much happening. And I didn't know how to handle all that. So I do what I do when I just shut down. That's it. And so like, of course, like I'm still doing things that have to be done. So like taking care of myself, taking care of the baby, just like very bare minimum things. There's no thriving when you're surviving. So like that was kind of like the first moment where I'm like, I have my headphones on. What's happening? Like I'm so overstimulated right now. So that's when I was like, okay, I don't know what I need, but I need something different. All right, so since the assessment is online, there of course isn't going to be like the physical waiting room aspect, but you're still going to get hit, or at least I was still hit with the same level of anxiety. My sessions were through Zoom, and so I was able to join the call and then like kind of just wait for the psychologist to also join and like allow me to enter the Zoom call. So like during that brief moment, like I still had the same like, what am I doing? Like, am I just wasting everybody's time? Am I overreacting? Am I just overthinking? Am I? Like the same thoughts are still going through my head. Just like instead of being in some strange old building, like it's just happening right here. But the biggest fear that I had during this time is just like the fear of being dismissed, the fear of being invalidated, and just like being told that, yeah, what you're experiencing is what everyone experiences. I don't know, you're fine. So there was still a lot of things still happening while I was waiting for the call to start. So both parts of the assessments are like having a very detailed conversation with someone else. The psychologist that I had asked just a bunch of questions that really hit on like my childhood, like young adult life, my current life. And then the second call was really more detailed as far as asking autism specific questions and how it applied to my current life, like as a new mom. So there's just like how I handled sensory processing, or how I masked like in my current life, just like executive function things. So it's just more of a zoom in to my current situation. I was really nervous about the 2 calls because one, it's 90 minutes, and I don't know. I'm so awkward when it comes to chatting with people I don't really know. And so before I had the calls, I was like, how am I supposed to fill 90 minutes? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But don't worry, the person or the psychologist was the perfect guide and just like made sure things were flowing and kept the conversation on track, asked so many questions. So by the time I ended both assessments, really, I was just like, okay, so that happened. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But like even now, even though the second assessment was 2 days ago, like I'm still just like, okay, I don't know how that went. Did I answer everything okay? Because like, you know how when you take a test, you pretty much know like what your results are going to be, like you know what's going to come from it. Not this. And that's really tripping me up. Because it's like, I don't know what to expect. Like, I don't know what's going to happen during this third call. And that not knowing is very scary, because it kind of like plays back in with the fear of being dismissed. Like, what if I get into the third call and she's just like, yep, normal. I don't know what else to tell you. Then I'm like, okay, well, sorry for wasting your time, I guess. But yeah. They recommend after you do the assessments of just like taking care of yourself and just like decompressing. So now that I'm done with the first 2 parts of this autism assessment with Prosper, I'm now waiting for my 3rd session, the result session, which will be happening in 2 weeks, which means I get to be nervous for 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm trying really hard to not just be focusing on what is going to come from that call. One thing I am looking forward to about the result session is that even if it's not going to end in a diagnosis, it's still just going to be like, well, this is how you experience things. This is what you struggle with. This is what you strive at. And so like, it's still going to be a step forward into me, like learning more about who this new person is, as a mom. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm trying to focus on that positive aspect and not so much, well, I'm going to be invalidated. But yeah, this is probably going to be the longest 2 weeks. Actually, I won't say that, because the longest 2 weeks was waiting for my son to get here, and then he finally did. So that was the longest 2 weeks of my life. But it's going to be long, and I'm really hoping that it just goes well, and I think it will. But I really just wanted to share this in case you are also someone who is curious about taking an assessment, or just like questioning about just anything. It's not too late. What you're feeling is absolutely valid. And even though this has been very eye-opening and then also just like really scary, I still think it's super worth it. And if you're able to do so, I think I would recommend it. But yeah, I got you. Alright, if you would like to follow along on my unmasking journey, I promise it's a fun one, then be sure to subscribe and you will be notified of the next latest video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.